7.7 is simple and compound interest. Now here's the deal. Right now in your life, this might not mean a lot to you, but I will tell you what, when you get to college, this is going to mean a lot because you're going to take out something called loans.
I'm not going to college.
Okay? You're going to take out student loans. Well, in life, you're going to probably take out loans in general there, CJ. So this is very life applicable, okay? So what happens is when we go to college or when we go to get a car when we're an adult or a house when we're an adult, you can't pay, most of us probably, can't buy a house that's $250,000 in cash, right? You take out something called a loan for that, okay? And then it has simple or compound interest. It has a lot of different things. If you go to college, Sally Mae will give you nice little loans to take out. Here's the deal. There are subsidized and unsubsidized loans. One involves interest that happens only after you graduate or stop school. One has interest that happens from day one of you taking it out. Okay? I'd rather have the one that happens when you stop school or you're done with it as opposed to the one that starts the day you take it out. That's what compound and simple interest is, basically broken down. Okay? Interest is the amount you earn or you pay for the use of money. So, like I said the other day, when I put money in the bank into a CD, the bank is borrowing my money, so they're paying me interest on it. But if I take a loan from the bank, I'm borrowing their money, so I'm paying them interest on it. Okay? We prefer to get the interest ourselves, right? Okay? The principal is the amount of money deposited or borrowed. So your principal is what you originally borrowed or you deposited. So if I say the principal of the loan was $200,000, that means I took out a loan for $200,000. Now, I'm going to pay back more than $200,000 because of interest, but my principal, the initial starting point, was that amount of money. Your simple interest is interest that is earned or paid only on the principal. So if it's the simplest form of interest, you're only paying on what the principal was. I'm only paying interest on that $200,000. An annual interest rate is the percent of the principal earned or paid per year. So my annual interest rate is a percent of the principal earned or paid per year. Okay, so the annual interest rate might be 3.5%. I took out a $200,000 loan. I'm paying 3.5% per year on that loan. Okay, which means if your loan's for 20 years, you're paying an extra 3.5%. So it's important to pay loans off early if you can. Okay, I had a car payment. I took a car payment out for a 7-year loan. Okay, my principal on my car payment was 2.6%. I paid off my loan in 2.5 years. That saved me a bunch of money in interest, okay, by paying extra payments on my bill. The formula for simple interest. I'm going to go through all the formulas first, and then we'll come back to the problems. The formula for simple interest is this. I equals P times R times T. P always stands for principal. In any of these formulas we are doing, your P is your principal. Okay? Your R is your annual interest rate. Okay? Which means it could be quarterly, monthly, it could be yearly, it depends. Your annual interest rate. And your T is time in years. Okay? How many years is this loan out for? That's your T. So you have a simple interest formula. You have, when you're trying to find a balance, okay? When I'm trying to find a balance, that's when an account earns interest. The interest is added to the money in the account. Now, the formula you're going to see most often, they give you two formulas to use. The formula you're going to see most often is this one right here. When you get into Algebra 2, college algebra, higher math in college, this is the only formula they're going to use. I'm getting there. So it's A equals P, and then parentheses, times 1 plus R times T. What do you think your P stands for again? Principal. Your R stands for your rate, and your T stands for your time. The A stands for your balance. What, Craig?
I don't know what is balance or interest.
well, because of the key words. It's going to say what's the simple interest, or it's going to say what's the balance. So that's how you have to know. If it says simple interest, I always use this formula. If it doesn't say simple interest, I'm not using this formula. Okay? The last one is compound interest. So we have simple interest, we have balance, we have compound interest. You have to pick those 3 words out to know which one you're using. Okay? So compound interest is the interest earned on both the principal and any interest that has been previous, okay? Which means this. If I take out a loan for $200,000 and then the interest on that is $1,000 that month, okay? That means now my loan is $201,000. Okay? If I don't pay anything on that still, my interest is going to build on top of that as well. Whereas simple interest only builds on the $200,000. So if it goes up to $201,000, I'm not going to build interest on that $1,000, only on the $200,000. Here, I build interest on the $201,000. Okay? That formula is A equals P parentheses 1 plus R to the T power. It's an exponential growth, which means it's going to grow quicker. This is good news if you're investing. Your money's going to grow quicker. This is bad news if you're borrowing. You're going to owe more money quicker. Okay? Once again, A equals balance, P equals principal, R equals rate, T equals time. Let's talk about word problems. I know lots of vocab to take in. Here's the deal. If you do me a favor tomorrow for your quiz, I'm going to check it beforehand and I will let you use these formulas on them. If you write simple interest with the formula, you write balance with the formula, you write compound interest with the formula. You cannot write these key terms, but you can write the formulas out and I'll let you use it. Got it? Okay, so bring it in on a separate piece of paper. That's on you. You don't have that piece of paper, you don't have the formulas. Got it? Okay. So, let's talk word problems. The red one up there, the first red one, says people buy bonds as a way to earn money. If a $1,500 bond earns 4% simple interest per year on its purchase price, how much money will it earn after 2 years? Okay, so what are my key terms here? Simple interest, okay? So it says simple interest, which means what formula am I using? Which is I equals PRT, right?
So does that mean we're just talking all of it?
But yeah, that just means we're timesing it all together. Now, let's see here. We're trying to find the simple interest, so we're trying to find I, okay? What is my P? What is my principal? Yes, $1,500. That's my initial money, okay? $1,500. What is my annual interest rate? What is my R, my rate?
4%.
And how do I put 4% so that I can multiply it? 0.04. Now, what is my time?
2 years.
Beautiful. Now let's multiply that together and tell me what we get.
120.
You get 120. You get 120. Okay, so I get 120. And I wanted to know how much will it earn in interest after 2 years. It's going to earn $120 in interest after 2 years. So after 2 years, how much money do you have now?
120.
No.
2 years.
No. After, this is the interest I earned after 2 years. So how much? Yes. So now I have this plus my initial at the end of 2 years, making it 1620. So by doing nothing, you earned $120.
How did you get?
How did I get 1620?
Yeah.
I added
Oh, you did.
120
Okay.
to my original amount that I put in, to the 1500.
Oh.
Okay? So basically, here's what's awesome. When you get older, and I suggest this, like even as 16, 17-year-olds, if you can talk to your parents and start investing money in places, you're going to be rich by the time you're 30. My cousin, he's 26, okay? My cousins own a flipping business. They flip houses. He also owns cattle. They live out in Washington State. He raises cattle, breeds them, okay? But he started investing when he was 17, and he is what you call he has $1 million in assets, which means he's basically a millionaire at this age of 27. And he started at 17, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay?
I want to be a dermatologist.
So what I'm saying is, when you have money, don't be stupid with it and just spend it on what you want now, because you want to set your life up later to be comfortable. Okay? You want to be smart. Sometimes when we wait and are patient, we gain more in the long run.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very biblical too, right? You have read the parable on how the owner gave like one guy 10 talents and then gave another guy like 50 and then gave another guy, and how the one went and buried it and did nothing with it because he was afraid to lose it. And the one went and spent it, and then the one went and invested it, right? He put some money and he gained more back. And because of that, he then got more in the long run. Okay? That is what this is. That is how we need to live life. So there's my little preaching moment for you. Sorry. Okay. Blue one. You get a summer job at a bakery. Suppose you save $1,400 of your pay and deposit it into an account that earns simple interest. After 9 months, the balance is $1,421. Find the annual interest rate. What formula am I using? Simple interest, okay? So see, Craig, once again, it tells us what I'm using. Simple interest. You have to pay attention to that. So simple interest is I equals PRT. Now, do we have our initial amount? Do we have our principal?
Yes.
What is it?
1,000.
1,004.
Okay, 1,400. Do we have our rate?
No.
No, because it says find the annual rate. So I don't have an R. Do I have my time?
Yeah.
What is it?
9 months.
9 months. And so 9 months. This is time in years. 9 months is what part of a year? 3/4 of a year. Okay? It's
0.75.
It's 3/4. So you have to think that way. Does that make sense? It's 3/4 of a year. Okay, and what am I looking for? Your interest, right? No. I have my what at the end? My balance. I have my balance, which is what? Okay, so here's the deal. Look at this. This is kind of confusing. This here says balance. This here says simple interest. Okay? They say the same thing. Okay, one says simple interest, so you think we're using simple interest. But then this says, here's your balance. My balance formula is A equals P1 times R times T, right? Okay, here's the deal. This one's tricky. I'm trying to find the simple interest, but I'm using the balance. So I need to use this formula. If they give you the simple interest, you're using this formula. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, listen, it's basically the same because watch this. Well, it's kind of the same. So I've got to change this formula to say A equals P times 1 plus R times T. Now, once again, my A was 1421. That's my balance. My P was 1,400, right? My rate, we don't know, but my time was 9 months, so we said 3/4, yes? Hello. No. Oh, sorry, my bad. No, I'm sorry. Bye. No. It's just Alexis hasn't been taken off my sheet yet, so I accidentally marked her present. Okay, so I have this formula going on now, yes? Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what we have to do. What do you think we have to do to solve for r? What do I have to do here?
You have to divide.
No. Brackets and parentheses are like the same thing. So what do I have to do with the 1400? Distribute. So I distribute it here, I get 1400, yeah? Plus, and I multiply it here, and I'm going to get 1400 times r times 3/4 still, right? Okay, how do I get this? What's my next step?
You multiply.
No.
You divide 3/4.
No, stop.
Stop it.
This
You
is what
add.
sign right here?
You add.
I can't add these because there's an r here, but what can I do with this number here?
Subtract it.
Yeah, from the other side so that I can break it down. Because I want to get r by itself, right? I want to get r by itself. So I'm taking 1400 and I'm subtracting it. What's 1421 minus 1400? So I get $21 equals 1400 times r times 3/4. How do you get rid of a fraction that's being multiplied to something?
Flip it.
Flip and multiply, or yes, I can divide by 0.75. Either works. Okay? I'm going to flip and multiply by 4/3. This cancels. That means I have to multiply this side by 4/3. So you have to do 4 times 21. That should be when I multiply a fraction. This is
84.
84
Oh.
divided by
Isn't it like
3.
100?
Divided by 3. 4/3 times 21, or 0.7. 28
Oh, I just said 28. I was
So
smart.
Craig was right.
equals
Yeah, so.
Hey, shut up.
1400r. Now what do you think I do here? Divide by 1400. Okay, now the money is going to cancel out. Do you see that? So what does r equal? What's 28 divided by 1400? It should be a decimal, yes?
0.02.
0.02, which means what percent is that? Because your rate, it's what?
2.
2, because your rate should always be a percentage.
Sure.
2%. So basically, you made 2% off of that. Now,
That says longer.
it took longer than it needed because you guys weren't thinking. But yes. You need to show me your work. It's all the steps we have ever done. We've done all these steps in different ways. We're just now plugging it in to an equation that deals with balance. Okay, over here. You deposit $1,500 into accounts that earns 2.4% interest compounded annually. Find the balance after 6 years. What formula are we going to use?
A equals P.
Balance.
What?
What's that word?
A equals.
Compound.
So A equals P. 1 plus.
1 plus r to the t. Okay, what is my p? What was my principal?
1,500.
1,500. Okay, what is my rate?
2.4.
Turn that into a decimal for me.
Oh.
Nope.
0.024.
0.024. Always turn them into a decimal when you put them in there. And what is your time?
6 years.
6 years.
So I put 6. Okay? That time, because it's years, remember that my time is always in years. So that time, because it's years, I can put 6. If it had said 36 months, I would have to turn that into
3 years.
3 years. If it says like, let's say it says like it did before the 9 months, you have to turn it into a fraction of 3/4. Okay, so you got to think that it's in years, not in months, not in days. Okay. If it says 60 days, what do you turn it into?
1. Should be 2 more.
It would be 60 days is how many months?
2.
2, and 2 months is what part of a year?
1/6.
1/6. So you have to turn it that way. Okay, so you got to start thinking a little bit. Now, from here, what do I do?
You distribute the.
There's nothing to distribute.
You
Not
add
yet.
1.
Or, listen to me, order of operations, parentheses. So inside I have what? 1.024. Exponents. What is 1.024 to the 6? should be.
It's 1.1529215.
Okay, let's just round to two places. Let's just round to two places. 1.15. Okay. Now what do I do? Multiply. You have to make sure that you use order of operations correctly, and make sure on this answer that you round to two decimal places because I'm dealing with moolah.
They don't know how to do that.
How you do even do exponents?
You use that caret button, that little.
The carrot one.
Okay. Yes.
That one.
Carrot button.
I got
Touch my calculator.
1,725.
It should definitely be 29. Did you put in 1,500 and then times 1.15?
And then you times this.
No, you don't.
Okay. Mine comes out as that.
What's I'm touching?
Here's the deal. It's gonna depend on your calculator a little bit and where you round, what your answer's gonna look like. So, yeah, so it might be off a little bit. So let's say it says, you said it says 1725. Okay, that's fine. So here's the deal. In your book, your answer might be off a little bit because you probably rounded to two decimal places, okay? Your book probably had a larger calculator that just took the whole answer and multiplied it together so it rounds differently. It's okay if you're off a little, okay? Can't be off by 50 or 60, but $4 or $5, you're fine. Yes,
Why would you use the compound interest formula if you're finding the balance?
because it said compound annually. I'm not finding a balance of something that's been multiplied. I'm not finding a balance of something that has interest just that time. I'm finding something that has a balance of interest on top of interest on top of interest on top of interest. Okay?
What?
So when you compound something, it's because you are continually going on top of what you already built. On just finding a balance, I'm only going off of the initial amount of money. Does that make sense? Okay. So, homework time.
That's a, I don't know. Just been